Time for another video. I'm going to talk about ignorance today, faith, knowledge. You know, I'm had a birthday a couple days ago here. I turned 52, so I'm not the oldest man around, but I'm definitely not the youngest either. And I've been in and out of church most of since 16. I've been in and out of church, and there's kind of a running theme that I perceived, and one of the, maybe this was planned for me, or I don't know, but one of the benefits of not staying in church all the time, and I pop in the church world for a while, and then I pop out, and I pop back in, and I pop out. And it's kind of the equivalent of watching a child grow up. If you have a child, you're with them every day, and it's the change is so gradual, you just hardly notice it. Every once in a while, you'll be like, oh man, you've really grown. But from a day-to-day thing, you just don't really notice it. And if you have a grandparent maybe or something that doesn't, maybe they're out of state and they only see them maybe once a year or whatever, they notice. They notice the change. They notice the height of the face, the stature, whatever. They notice. And so the other benefit of not being in church consistently is I haven't been led away with the bullcrap. And one thing I have noticed is not all churches, but most churches, they pride themselves in being contemporary. And if you break that word in half, it's a con and it's only temporary. And, being contemporary, you pretty much conform to whatever it is that society's doing or not doing at the time. And the other thing I've noticed is most people, Christians that have been Christians a long time, most people have never read the Bible cover to cover. Most. Which means they're ignorant. They criticize, condemn, debate, judge other people, other Christians, other denominations, whatever it happens to be, and yet they're really not an expert or even well versed in their own field. The other thing I've noticed is a lot of if you want to take the Bible literally type of thing, there's explicit and there's implicit, and there's just like, what does the Bible actually say type of teaching. And then we'll take this verse, chop it up, that verse, jump across the Bible and go into this verse. Nothing really says anything plain out, but if you put it all together, my one-liner I say is, if the Bible says a pig is pink, a pig is pink. Unless it's, of course, blue. But I mean, if the pig is pink, the pig is pink. The Bible's saying the pig is pink, right? So using that example, you will have people, pastors, whoever is trying to get a buck from you, they'll tell you and try and convince you. If you go into the Greek and the Hebrew and you take the social things of that time, and the vernacular, I don't know, whatever, you can create your own fluff. But they'll try and convince you that even though it says the pig is pink, it's really brown or black, and it'll be like, what? And so in reading the Bible as a Bible student or just a Christian, you go to church, you don't really put much effort into what you claim to believe, and you just take his word for it, and you feel spiritually enlightened, and you look upon other people that think that pigs are actually pink in a condescending way because you have the revelation. And so much teaching today is based on that premise of revelation. I have a revelation. I have inside knowledge. And that makes them feel superior. And then they condescendingly talk and judge other people. How dare you teach people that pigs are pink? Well, the Bible says pigs are pink. But you just don't understand. And then it's like, you know, statistics, lying through statistics, but I mean, it's a really high percentage of churches and believers today that go along those lines. And like the pre-tribulation, for example, there is no verse in the Bible anywhere that says that Jesus is coming before the tribulation. Not one, nowhere. And that's where the implicit and explicit things is. Jesus does say very explicitly that he is coming after the tribulation, and he is coming after the sun, moon, and stars have their event. So people will still nitpick and argue and write books and do plays and have songs and, I wish we'd all been ready. And it's just crazy how fantasy land all this stuff is. And I know an atheist will say, why are you nitpicking over fantasy? One person's fantasy is more believable than another. Hey, I understand, I get that. But I'm just saying that, I'm talking to Christians, believers, Bible believers, whatever. It's getting ridiculous. Like, just in the last year, they created 40% of all the currency in existence. 40%. I don't remember if that was just the United States or globally, but it was like 40%. That's huge. And so, this I talk to people and they say, "Oh, I just have faith. God will take care of me." You're an idiot. You're an idiot. If you talk like that, you're an idiot, because if you are doing nothing to prepare for what's coming, you're an idiot. If all you're going to do is claim God will take care of you, you're in for a rude awakening. God gave you brains. He gave you your senses. He gave you a Bible, like whether you believe it or not, but he gave you a Bible. And there's one thing that doesn't change, and it's people. People do not change. Evolution, if true, it happens very slowly. And so in 6,000 years or 1,000, 2,000 years or whatever, a couple hundred years, things do not change with people that much. And we are getting into Lalazville, and everything that's happening in the secular world seems to parallel what's happening in church. So I'm going to bring some things up, like, the Bible says false weights and false measures and abomination to the Lord. So even if there is no God, that's a good thing. Like gold and silver, you can't inflate them away. You can't print them into oblivion. Sound money creates sound economies, which create sound families, or sound families create sound economies. And when you're stealing people's purchasing power, which is supposed to represent your labor, which is your wealth, and you're losing your purchasing power, like as we're even watching this video right now. I mean, Zimbabwe is, like, everybody talks about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, I think, had was it a $1 trillion or $100 trillion note? It's crazy. And people are that stupid. They're just that stupid. They just keep, and then, whoops, the numbers get too big, so they come out with another currency and they lop some zeros off. So they've figured out now that this happens in a bunch of countries. They're able to get away with it like 3 times before people finally catch on and say that's enough. And I just shake my head like, God, people are just that stupid. And this has to do with like ignorance and wisdom and stuff. And you think about like Isaiah 4:6, where it says, for my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And Romans 1:13, it says, now I would not have you ignorant, brethren. Romans 1 Corinthians 10:1, moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant. 1 Corinthians 12:1. Got lost in my thing here. 1 Corinthians 12:1, towards the end of it, it says, I would not have you ignorant. 2 Corinthians 2:11, we are not ignorant of his devices, talking about Satan. 1 Thessalonians 4:13, but I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren. 2 Peter 3:5, for this they are willingly ignorant. 2 Peter 3:8, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing. And that's just, Paul and Peter here, like, if you think all it takes is faith to get through life, you're stupid. Or you're really, really ignorant. And, does it sound mean? Oh, you're calling somebody stupid. Well, hey, it's a descriptive word if the shoe fits. And if people don't get off their phones, get off of Facebook, stop watching the news, for God's sake, get your kids out of public school. One of the tenets of communism is centralized planning. It's centralized planning when it comes to schools, infrastructure, banking, and finance. We have a central bank that issues money and controls the interest rates. That's communism. Hello. Public schools run by a national Department of Health, might as well be, Department of Education. That's centralized education. They are teaching you to be good slaves. They don't teach you, in America, they don't teach you your constitutional rights. They teach you how to fill out tax forms, how to be a good slave, how to be a good employee. Most college or most high school graduates, they never become, like entrepreneurs or whatever. It's most of them are employees. Well, how much do you make a year? What do you do for a living? And I hear that crap all the time. What do you do for a living? I tell people I'm a professional bum most of the time. Or I'll tell people I'm unemployed. And it's either one is they're true. I don't work. I don't have a regular job, so, and I'm not a welfare case. But my point is people, they it's sad. It's like my heart breaks when I go to a church and I just see such ignorance and blindness, and I see people with fake Jesus smiles. Sometimes they don't even have fake Jesus smiles. They just don't smile at all. And one of the things I've noticed, and this is almost every church, is people don't sing anymore. They don't. They have bands or a big choir, and they turn the music up really loud, and it's basically drowning out the fact that nobody's singing. Very few are singing, which is that really tells you a lot about the state of society. And I don't know what to say. I do have some answers, but we got to get past this Joel Osteen bullcrap. And I'm not knocking him. He's filling a niche, and he's got a big church, and he's got books, and people read them, and they listen to his podcast or whatever's his things. I get it. I get it. We're all free to do what we want. But he's not helping. In the big picture of things, he's not helping. And what people need to do, in my opinion, is quit. Like, how I can explain this. So, again, I'm talking to Christians / believers, and I'm almost done here. I'll quit in a few minutes. My opinion is that people are leaving the churches in droves. They're leaving. Churches are getting bigger, but there's less people, and less people are going to church. And even the ones that are going to church, I don't know what they're doing, easing their conscience. I honestly don't know. But most of them don't read the Bible, or they have not read the whole Bible. And they'll read a lot of books about the Bible, or they'll listen to people talk about the Bible, but they don't really hear the Bible. So here's my take. you probably are not going to like what the Bible has to say. And if that's the case, fine. If you don't like the God of the Bible, quit pretending that you serve him because you're just creating problems. That's number one. Um, there are a couple areas that permeate every household, and it is money. Probably 99 point whatever percent of churches, the only reason they talk about money is because they want it from you. But my opinion is, if you're not talking about money, like how there's real money and there's fiat inflationary money, and how you're being robbed, if you don't give some people, the common average churchgoer, avenues on how to stop themselves from getting ripped off, you are not helping your congregation. So that's number one. And secondly is personal relationships. And personal relationships, when it comes to male and females, all circles around sex. Men don't have female friends unless they want to screw them. That's just reality. And if a guy just came out here and just now says, "Oh, that's not true," then you're gay. The whole males are attracted to females. We want to screw everything with two legs and a vagina. That's just the facts. And if a guy says he doesn't, he's a wimp or he's lying to you. So, in my opinion, the Bible lays out very simply who you're, as a male, well, and as a female, but mainly as a male, who you're allowed to have sex with. And ladies, you got to get out of your expectations of what women fantasize too much about the perfect man and a perfect relationship and the perfect wedding and all that stuff. You're disappointed all the time because you fantasize about stuff that just ain't real. So that's that. In addition to that, though, I talk about polygamy a lot, and the reason I talk about polygamy a lot is because the Bible talks about relationships a lot. And why it's important to me to stress this is because if we don't talk about polygamy, you'll never have a good relationship, ever, between a man and a woman. Because in order to have a polygamous relationship, you have to have a very good monogamous one first. So, and the other thing with women is this thing is, oh, he cheated on me, he this, he that. If we open things up, ladies, if you don't want to be a man with a man because he wants another female in his life, leave. It's your freedom. Leave. But what are you going to do? You're going to find another guy and think he's going to be any different? And biblically, we have to address concubines. What is a concubine? That's just the Old Testament. Oh, that was just Israel's society or whatever. No, it's supposed to be the Bible. King David, he had, 8 wives and a bunch of concubines. Abraham had a bunch of concubines and a wife. Solomon, they're just all over. Do you know that God describes himself as a polygamist? He had 2 wives. So, 2 sisters, actually. Look it up if it gets you mad. So, anyways, it's the ignorance thing. And so money, relationships, we got to get down to reality. And my concern, and I don't think it's misplaced, is we are going to have a currency crisis that is global. And when this happens, the world is going to turn upside down. If you do not prepare for this, you are going to suffer severely. In the meantime, we need to just enjoy life, but we need to be prudent and studious, and we need to know what's going on. If you listen to all these prophets and stuff, most of them are a bunch of whack jobs, and you're just wasting your time. So I have been described by people as being a watchman. I would accept that title simply because it doesn't make me a prophet. It doesn't make me, I'm not claiming to be anything other than just somebody who's standing by the wayside, standing on the wall, and I'm trying to shout to people that are going by, I'm up elevated and I can see further than you, and I'm telling you that there's trouble ahead. And if you don't pay attention, you're going to suffer.